Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Double Pivot, episode 10 of the Endless Celts Podcast. I'm delighted to be joined by Franny and James. How are you both?
All good, mate. All good. Just a quiet week working away. All good.
Yourself,
Much the
Franny?
same, mate, Stephen. Much the same. All good. Similar.
Good, man.
That's what happens when you get to your age. It's work and work.
All work, no play, man. That's what the crack is. Do you know what I realise as well? It's such a... See, when you go to people, like it's Franny and James, how are you both? It's that awkward moment. Who's going to go first? You know, I've actually just noticed that myself. It's like, fuck me. But it's good to see the comments already flying. Sam Fran's in, Monty's in. I mean, we went French for Christoph. I mean, that was you, Franny, put that comment in. It's great to have everyone along with us.
My pal's uncle.
Oh, does he?
I don't know the boy like it. It's my
uncle's. There we go. Well, welcome to everyone who's watching on Twitter, X, and YouTube. We're delighted to have you on here. But look, we'll get stuck into it, James. I know Franny was on the Monday Club with the rest of them in regards to the game at the weekend, and I'll obviously come to yourself, Franny, as well about it. But what a roller coaster, James. I was watching it as always with my grandfather, and see, to be honest, it was obviously when you look back on it now, it was a thrilling game. It was exciting, everything you want in a cup semi-final. But seeing that moment, and I was watching it, so many moments passed me by because I was so angry. I was uptight. I was emotional. I was like, "What the fuck's going on?" 3 each. We had so many dodgy goals go, which we'll go over briefly. But what about yourself, James? How did you find that game? And I mean, looking back in hindsight, we're through to another final. Surely something to celebrate.
Aye, mate. Just rather kind of strangely for myself, I felt quite positive, to be honest. Apart from the last kind of maybe 5-10 minutes of the 90 minutes, I thought we were pretty comfortable without ever being brilliant. But I never really felt that we were in any danger, obviously, until the equaliser. And then, pretty much the same again in extra time. And then they're throwing the kitchen sink at it at the end. And obviously, I'm sure we're going to touch on it, but we don't really defend it well again. And it goes to penalties, and I don't think there was a Celtic supporter on the planet that was confident when it went to penalties. But it's quite typical that in a season where we've missed, what is it, half our penalties that we've missed them. We're going to shoot it and we're perfect, and the only one that we missed is for the goalkeeper. So we've kept our penalties hidden all season. But no, just obviously, as you say, good to get through to another final, and hopefully sets us up nicely for a double. Touchwood.
Well, it's setting us up nicely at the moment, Franny, if things continue how they are. I mean, obviously watched the Monday's podcast news. We're going over it, looking at the positive side of things, obviously talking about the negative side of things in terms of defending, which we'll come on to. But looking at the game, I mean United and Coventry the next day, I think that was that 3 each as well. So there was a lot of cracking cup games, and I know, look, what they expect when they play their wee cousins or wee sisters, they're going to bend over and take one from them. Like, so you're not really expecting much from Naismith and company against Sevco. But look, the neutral side of things, yes, it was a fantastic game, but for my heart, it wasn't. For my state of mind, it definitely wasn't. And like James, I was comfortable throughout it, but there was moments and lapses of concentration from Celtic that is quite worrying for me, and the defensive side of things as well. But I mean, look, you had Monday, you were on, obviously still quite raw over the weekend. How do you feel now, looking back at the game?
I'm much the same as what James is, and that's kind of what I was saying on Mondays. I thought we controlled large parts of the game without really, like without battling their goal and things like that. Like, I don't think Kelleris had many great saves to make. I don't think there was no real last ditch defending from both sides, but in the main, I thought we controlled it. Obviously, Anthony was sneaking in his stats of late, so he was talking about the possession in that, and I was actually surprised we only had 54% possession. I thought we would, over the full game, I thought we would have had a lot more than that, but it just shows you. But I thought we controlled it without really battering them. And like you say, Stephen, for the neutrals, it must be a great game of football to watch. But as Celtic fans, you didn't like putting yourself through that kind of carry on. And yes, we're in I suppose it's that old cliche in a cup game. Your name's in. Well, I see your name's in the hat. It's not a hat for the final, but your name's through to the next round and stuff. So it's kind of all you ask for at the start of cup finals. And I said it Monday, Aberdeen are a better team than Ninth. They've had a terrible season. Let's not get away from that, but they've got good players in that team. in a cup game, anything can happen. It's a one-off. There's no jeopardy when it comes to the league position. So it's kind of a free hit for them, but maybe it gives us a wee kick up the arse to say these last remaining games, I'm maybe got to play plain sailing. We'll need to be at it.
Yeah, I mean, Roger says Celtic come alive when the pressure's on. I thought we died 3 times on Saturday, do you know what I mean? So that needs to be sorted out quite quickly, in my opinion. What I was thinking as well, because imagine we were all in graces with Willie with that game, Franny. I think we'd be all fighting. I think it would have been some absolute scenes going on there, to be fair. But, I mean, we'll look at the performance in terms of some players, James, and I think the lads on Monday covered the goals really well in terms of what we scored and what Aberdeen scored. But I've just watched back before we come on just to refresh my memory. Aberdeen's first goal, that pass from Clarkson through to Nawrocki cut both Carter Vickers and Scales open. And let's be honest, they nearly had 2 other similar goals from that position as well. One great save from Joe Hart, I can remember, and then there was another that got cleared. But what it looked like to me anyway in the main was 3 or 4 passes, Aberdeen were in behind and creating chances, and that for me is concerning from a defensive point of view.
I think a lot of that as well. I mean, I know I've kind of was banging on about him earlier in the year, but I think you've got to give a fair bit of credit to Nawrocki for that as well, because I think his movement was good. We know he can score goals, and if I'm being honest, I think out of everybody we've played in the league, he probably gives Carter Vickers the hardest time. Certainly it seems that way watching the game. Scales as well, but I think I could give him a hard game the way he's been playing recently. But I think a lot of it is down to Nawrocki, and then obviously as the game goes on, they're just kind of lumping just kind of lumping. But I've just seen there, Man United's getting better on the left Sheffield United, I know. So, but no, I just later in the game when they started lumping cross balls into the box for anywhere, and look, fair play to them, they obviously get 2 goals for it. It tends to be what we struggle with. So they essentially played to our weaknesses, which were obviously further highlighted with the goals. But I thought they actually played pretty well, as I say, without ever kind of having us under pressure for massive periods of time. But obviously, to score 3 goals against us and take it to penalties, you've got to give them their due.
You do have to give them their due, Franny, and I think to be fair, I mean 3 each in the last 3 games. I think we've seen that scoreline against Sevco and against Aberdeen, and look, it doesn't make for great reading, obviously conceding 3 goals. But you looked at, I mean, Junior Hoylett come on. He's an old, obviously campaigner, played in England and various parts of Europe, and I know him and AJ are Canadian teammates, but I thought AJ showed him too much respect, and he got 2 balls in from his left-hand side, obviously AJ's right, and it wasn't good enough defending. I know people are pointing to Scales and Taylor, and look, we'll get on to them, but what do you think of AJ and his part to play in the 2 goals we conceded from the wide areas?
Well, I mean, I've not really watched the game back since Sunday, Stephen, so I can remember, obviously, Hoylett's got a lot of space, and it's pretty much the exact carbon copies the second and third goal, all bar Hoylett. One's the left footer and one's right foot, he crosses it, but apart from that, it's carbon copy them. The first one I'm trying to kind of remember, because I think the second meaning the third goal, obviously Hoylett's second one, that was the one with Palmer tried to play that stupid reverse pass, wasn't it? The third one. So that one I can kind of maybe understand Johnson being a wee bit caught inside, because also we're defending, we're trying to make a quick break up the park, and obviously Forrest came off just before that as well, so it's maybe leaving him a wee bit exposed. So you can maybe argue it's a bit of, as well as I can understand Rodgers just try to get a defender on and just soak up the last whatever's left 3-4 minutes of the game. It did then leave Alistair Johnson massively exposed out there. So the third one, you could maybe cut him some slack and argue, because we've tried to counter. Palmer's not played a great pass. He's obviously not got Forrest to cover him. The first equaliser, again, try to remember back, it does give him too much and probably doesn't get out to him quick enough. But it's just try to sort of remember off the top of my head that sort of phase of play. I think to be honest, I think it was actually good play. I don't think they've got a quick turnaround. I think it is just, again, how it had a good bit of space. But as much as I do think maybe Johnson and maybe like we said, Scales could do better. Two fucking ridiculously good crosses at the end of the day. They're two really good crosses.
Yeah. Brilliant crosses, but you mentioned the Scales and Taylor there. Look, once bitten, twice shy, isn't that the saying? And I felt like, for me anyway, that they both got caught out at the back post, and I thought Scales got caught under the ball twice. Taylor, I don't know what Taylor's doing. He moves inside instead of tracking that rudder into the back post, and kind of it does leave Liam Scales exposed. Let's be fair, but a lot of people are saying that the Scales experiment's done. Stephen Ray was in the comments very early on talking about Yang. We're going to come on to Yang, don't worry about that. But in terms of Liam Scales, Franny, and then his counterpart on the left-hand side, Greg Taylor, that's two, for me, glaring mistakes. And I know you're saying it's a great ball in, which it was, by the way. I'm not taking that away from Junior Hoylett, no way. Weak defender from AJ, but brilliant crosses in to get them 2 goals. But 2 carbon copies on their side. They've lost their man. One, obviously, Solskjaer scored. He came on as a substitute, the striker. And then McDonald scored, who gave basically their first goal away against Kyogo, kind of redeemed himself on that front. But it's not good enough. And Liam Scales, for me, showed in the last couple of games why, from my point of view, he's nothing more than a squad player.
I know. I totally get it. I think his ability is kind of getting shown up in the last few games. And I did get caught under 2 crosses, and he just, again, maybe if you want to cut him some slack on the third goal, maybe it's just getting a bit leggy and stuff like that, and he just, that one. But the second one, I just think for a centre half, you've got to track the flight of a ball better. It's not like it's came in for a decent distance. Has he maybe try and play devil's advocate with sort of Scales and Taylor, have both of them then thought, oh well, that's each other's area, and that's maybe how Scales has got under it, because he's maybe came so far back and went, well, you can how sort of like it's all tactics now in football. It's you've got an area and where you have to be out of possession and things like that. So maybe Scales just went, well, I'm dropping too deep, so I shouldn't be here. Greg Taylor will pick up, and Greg Taylor's maybe thinking, oh, I'm dropping too far in or whatever. But for me, I think it is not want to be too overly critical on Scales, and because folk will just be going, oh, you're desperate for him to fail, and it's no, you're desperate for him to.
I don't like that.
Like, I hate that whole thing. You've got to caveat it by going, but Scales has been really good this season. Nobody's denying he's stepped up to the plate. The guy has been brilliant, but you can criticise him when he's been bad. It's no saying you were right. I was not on here weeks. I've not been on here for months saying, trust me, Scales we'll see Scales' level. I think we've all sort of been fair with him and bigging him up and stuff. It's just pointing out what we all kind of believed at the start of the season. This was Scales' level at the end of the day. Do I think we should change him in the run-in? No. As silly as that sounds, I just think with the centre-half partnership, I think you've got to be consistent. I mean, obviously, if we go to Dens Park and he has an absolute howler, then it's a different argument, because I believe Nawrocki's a better option, especially for aerial battles. I think Nawrocki's better in the air. But I think when it comes to centre-half, just get to the end of the season with Scales, and he's played enough games this season. He's been good enough this season. Hopefully, it's just a wee blip, and he maybe picks it up for the remaining games. So I would stick with him, providing he doesn't have an absolute howler at Dens Park.
Paul McFarlane says, you stop cutting people slack, Franny. How many chances do they deserve? But look, again,
Mickey Johnson's still here, isn't he? So,
oh jeez, don't be saying that, please. But then Pat comes in as well here. James Scales has never been brilliant. Okay, only at times, but really his level is not Celtic at all. He cannot read a game and not good enough in the air. And to be fair, I do tend to agree with that. I mean, we've seen in the last, I say 3 or 4 weeks maybe, that kind of downturn in form. The amount of touches he takes to get the ball out of his feet. I counted at one point, it took him 7 touches to pass the ball 5 yards on Saturday. That's not good enough if you're looking to play quick football. And the fact is that, like Franny said, is there enough communication between him and Greg Taylor? I mean, he's dropping too far back the mark, Solskjaer and McDonald. It's again, and then Taylor's run into the box, putting his arms out, blaming people instead of manning up and taking responsibility and marking someone when he should have been doing that. And then Franny mentioned Nawrocki. The guy was signed for over £5 million from the Polish League, was playing in European football for Lega Warsaw, was in their team winning championships and cups over in Poland. And he comes to us, bit stop-start by injury, but he's just never really got a consistent run on the team. And it's kind of puzzling why. I mean, we can see what Scales is doing. I mean, we see it with a lot of players, but Rodgers isn't acting on it. Do you think he's trying to keep that continuity till the end of the season and then make the change? The risk it all for just keeping that back four together?
I think the game at the weekend will be very telling. Look, the Scales thing, I've probably defended Scales longer than Mace, to be honest. When we had that wee kind of downturn in results, when they kind of obviously caught up and then eventually overtook us, I don't know, I just felt as if Scales get a lot of undeserved stick through that period. It was kind of as if he get scapegoated a wee bit. But that being said, like the last few weeks, maybe a month or so, Scales, his form has just dropped off a cliff. It felt as if obviously he started the season when he came into the team on a real high, and there's been a kind of gradual decline since then. And in the last, I know he was injured or whatever for a wee spell, but the last kind of month or so when he's played, he's a liability at this point. And like you're saying as well, I personally would give him a shade of the blame for the 2 goals. I know you're saying it's maybe harsh for the third one, but he's still the centre half that's there. That is essentially what his job is when that ball comes into the box, and it's almost as if he gets lost with it. But again, I know that's maybe a wee bit harsh, but even outweigh that, like you're saying, it just takes far too long on the ball. And everything, if the simple pass to the fullback isn't owned, then he just looks totally lost, and he's turning and he's not going anywhere, and sometimes he's playing us into trouble. So I would trap him, and if I'm being honest, if Nawrocki doesn't get a look in off the back of that performance, then I think there's every chance that Nawrocki will be away in the summer as well, along with Lager Bielka, because if you're paying $5 million for a guy, and look, as I say, Liam Scales earlier in the season, when there were shouts for Nawrocki to come in, Liam Scales hadn't done anything wrong at that point to deserve to be dropped. He knew his, and he's been doing it the last kind of few appearances. So the time is now, for me at least, to make the change. I mean, it was the Scales that played at Ibrox that conceding 3 at Hampden again. So, and as we've said, like, for me, he's directly involved in two of the goals. So he is now starting to cost us. So for me, the time is now to bring Nawrocki in. Let's see what Nawrocki's got for the run-in, because Scales isn't delivering now.
Totally agree. And if I'm looking at this as well, if I can find Stephen Ray's comment, I watched the third goal again, obviously the highlights before it came on to refresh memory, and this is exactly what happened. Rocky and Carter Vickers held a good line for the third goal. It was Scales who ball watched and dropped back to play them all on 100%. When you see the replay again, he's not in line with the the 2 other centre halves that are on the pitch. He dropped back and it played on McDonald for that third goal. So again, he needs to be more in tune with the defenders, albeit they find a substitution to bring Rocky on for Forest a bit strange. Yeah, possibly, but sure, that was Rodgers trying to manage the game out. Plunge McNugget comes in, Franny. Nawrocki will be off. He wasn't a Brendan signing. Do you think the writing's on the wall for him and Lager Bielka? I mean, if you can't get a sniff when you have Scales in front of you, then geez, there's something wrong.
Well, yes and no. Like James was saying, Scales was, for the most part of this season, didn't deserve to be out that team. Nawrocki has been injured for big parts of the season, and centre half is not really a position you just change to try and see if guys like Nawrocki are any good. But like I do think that what I've seen of him, he looks a good player, certainly a better option than Scales. But I understand what James is saying as well. Like if you can't get a start on the back of Hampden and a couple of performances previous to that, he might be looking at his own sort of aspirations, because he'll be like, well, I was brought in for decent money. Obviously, that shouldn't guarantee you a start, but the nature of the beast, when you're kind of brought in for that level of cash, you tend to feel that he's in there for a start. Certainly before a guy that was on loan to Aberdeen the season before. So
I'm playing that game against Darvel.
I'm playing that game against Darvel, and like I say, probably every Celtic fan the planet just had him out the door at the start of the season anyway. So it's, like I say, fair, all credit to him for this season for what he's done. I would like to see. Well, it's a weird one with Nawrocki. I'm a bit like him with Ida, where I'm a wee bit no arsed if he goes or stays, if that makes sense. Because I'm still, even if Nawrocki plays the remaining games or doesn't, I'm still wanting us to buy a centre half in the summer to be of as close or better as quality to CCV. Give him a better partner, a guaranteed better partner. That could be Nawrocki, but just in a can.
Could be. And then another player as well.
He's well out the door.
He's gone. I don't understand why he didn't go in January. But
like nobody even talks about him.
Kobayashi. Oh, I don't know. He came in. Remember, Postecoglou was toying with putting him first choice for a while. He played a lot of games when he first actually arrived in the door, and then he's fell off the face of a cliff. But another player that was brought up in the comments, Franny, and I mean, an experiment. Who should be first choice? Blah blah blah. Yang. I've been a big advocate of Yang, right? So much so, I would prefer him playing over Palma. Up. Now, again, this is where opinions change, and this is where you're allowed to say, and you're allowed to move forward with how the performances go and what you're seeing on the pitch. That game against Aberdeen is possibly the worst I've seen a Celtic player play all season, in Yang's case, in my opinion. I thought, in my opinion, every time he got the ball, he was out-muscled. He had a couple of bits of good play where he flashed bad boy, but then he took too long, messed up the final product, and blah, blah, blah. There was no helping out Taylor at the back, and we all know that Taylor needs a lot of help, which is why Maeda plays on the left a lot when he's free of injury. But look, Yang, for me, was terrible. I can say it now, because looking back on that performance, do I still think he has a lot of potential? Yes, I do. Do I still hope he makes it at Celtic? Yes, I do. I'm not hoping he fails. I still have belief in him. But for that kind of one-off game, when you put a microscope on it, he wasn't great, Franny. I don't know if you think different to me. I've seen you shaking your head a wee bit, but what are you thinking on Yang?
Shaking your head, because you were shaking my head because of how bad it was. Like, I'm probably not to the same, well, maybe not to the same extent as you, Ross, where I do believe, I've got a bit of faith in the boy, but he's getting harder and harder to defend right now. He really is. It's harder to put a case forward for him. He was terrible, absolutely terrible. Again, buddy, Paul McFarlane will probably be raising, because if you want to cut him some slack, he's came over a youngish lad. He came over for a brand new culture. I know he's got O there to kind of maybe help him integrate, but it's as a massive culture changing. But as a performance of football goes, that's not got to make it in any YouTube pilot reel. Like, it was terrible. It was terrible. Like I say, Stephen, you and Ross are big advocates for him. I do like the boy as well. I think there is a bit of potential there. He looks what you kind of want in that a winger. He's fast. He looks like he's got some tricks and flicks, and does look like he can beat a man and got a bit of confidence. But by God, it's getting harder and harder to put that case forward. Like,
the main thing that Yang needs is confidence to play. I don't think he had that. I don't think he had any confidence in his football ability.
A bit of football ability as well.
Oh, it was terrible. Like, and James, I know you're always talking about Palma playing and Forrest even. I mean, Forrest come on, and the first kind of thing he done was score a goal when he come on. I think it was for Yang, wasn't it, on the left hand side? I just, like, again, it's an isolated game. I'm basing this off. He was horrendous. Probably though, even worse than I've seen Burnaby play, and that's big. That's big for me to say, to be fair.
Mate, I just think the boy is totally and utterly shite. Honestly, I have never seen it. I don't get it. I've said it before, and I stand by it. You've all told me that he was in form after the back when getting sent off at Hearts, and I never ever believed it. Don't get me wrong, it was a 7-1 game against Dundee. He played well, and when we beat Aberdeen, was it October or November? It was before Christmas anyway. He played well. That's the twice I've seen him, and he's been anything above shite. that is essentially it. Look, the Palma thing, I concede. I've stood by Palma as well. Palma was terrible as well when he came on. Obviously,
Yep.
getting the goal away, totally and utterly frustrating most of the times when he got the ball. So I absolutely concede that as well. But the Yang thing, I mean, I've seen. I don't even think this is harsh off the back of what I've seen. To be honest, I've seen people saying loan him out to a Hibs, a Hearts, an Aberdeen, a top 6 team. I don't think he gets in their team. I genuinely don't think he gets in their team. And if you're looking for him to go out to a bottom 6 team, then he's not going to get any benefit of it because they wouldn't play him. Really, he's not the kind of type of player that they would play. I can't. I don't even see potential. Honestly, I think you could.
Oh, you have to see a bit of potential.
What has he done? Honest to God, I think you could pull somebody out the crowd and they do the exact same job as he does. I genuinely believe that. It does not affect a game at all. I think when he plays, if he plays again, he should turn up wearing a crash helmet and a suit of armour. See the amount of times he just gets nudged off the ball and he ends up on the deck. He must be on the ground about 100 times a game. He's just no go to it, never had it and will never had it. A totally pointless signing. I can't see him playing, or he shouldn't play. Wouldn't even make the bench for me if I'm being totally honest with you. And I know we're going to come on to discuss youth development and all that.
We are. Fair. There's going to be a couple of rockets tonight. Like I can feel it already.
I mean, he's taking minutes off Rocco Vata. I would much rather see Rocco Vata in the team than Yang. And look, I know you're saying he was terrible against Aberdeen. I honest to God think he was worse the week prior against St Mirren. And I'd like to see the stats because it feels as if pretty much every game he plays, he always gets hooked after 45 minutes or an hour. He very rarely sees out a game. But apart from all that, I suppose he's all right.
I mean, Patrick McLaughlin really sums up our way there here. The only way a player I keep is Maeda. The rest in the bin and start again in those positions.
That's a fair point. Sorry to nip in there, but I know I've kind of taken the piss with the James Forrest comments and Roger saying he was the best winger at the club. And see, to be fair, I'll hold my hands up now. See, on current form, James Forrest is head and shoulders the best winger at the club, and he can't get in the team, which is wild. And we've said that before. What Rogers has said, James Forrest can't play 90 minutes. But is James Forrest 31 or 32? It's no as if he's
61, by the way he talks.
Not exactly. So, going forward for the time being, I'd go Forrest and probably Palmer, to be honest with you. But no Yang.
Yang will come good. I know I said it about Burnaby, but Yang will come good. Maybe in 10 years. Might not be at us, but he'll come good somewhere.
Or Broth or something,
Or Broth.
Yeah,
that's a bit hard.
Like, he's the type of player that you know after the first couple of times he's on the ball what you're getting from him.
Aye.
It never seems to grow into a game. Aye. Never, if he loses the ball the first couple of games, it doesn't seem to grow into a game.
Yeah, no, I do agree. And look, we'll come back to the football chat. We're going to break it up a wee bit here. Obviously, it's a double pivot. Wee bit of fun in between. And a wee bit of who am I? Franny, comments off. James, get your comments off. I know you have them on somewhere.
By the way,
I don't know how, but you have them on somewhere.
I just need to say the opposite of James and I'll get it
right. and in the comments, I will come back to you, obviously, once these are done to see who got the right answers and stuff. But like, it's just a wee bit of crack. And we'll start with, let me see. Just bear with me. You don't want to click any of these. It's so fidgety. Right. So player number 1. Again, if you want clues, you can get clues. There's only 4 players, so we'll get cracked in. He's ready?
Yep.
Right.
Player number 1. Who is it? What can we see in the picture?
A tattoo.
Tattoos.
Tattoos. Just want a clue?
Jeremy Ali-Adair.
I'm going to go Darno D.
Both wrong. Want me to give you a clue?
Stephen McManus.
No, you're just chucking names now. Do you want a clue?
Centre half for that era. Aye, go for it.
I played for Aberdeen twice over 2 spells.
Barry Robson.
That's it.
Nope.
Oh.
I really should do a point system. If you get like more three wrong, you're out. But well.
Aberdeen over 2.
2 spells.
Oh, it's no good.
I'm going to dip into the comments here to see what the crack is. I'm going to dip into the comments and see if anyone's got it. Nope. Patrick McLaughlin in with McManus. Patrick McLaughlin again with Paul Hartley. Nope. Not Charlie Mulgrew either. Paul McCalmont. Nope. All wrong so far.
I can't even think anybody beside for Aberdeen.
Okay.
I am a Northern Ireland international.
Ah.
Now McGinn.
There you go, Franny. Franny is...
I can't believe I've just went off Niall McGinn. Imagine having your own name tattooed up your arm.
I know. see when you know who it is, that is fucking terrible. He's got Niall on his arm, man.
Has he actually got that on his arm? I didn't even know that.
That's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Wow. So it's 1-0 to Franny out of 4. Player number 2. Who's this?
Again.
I hope not. Oh.
Okay.
Is that Darnell D? Nah, it's no, because it's the wrong number.
Every time I find you, I see you. Got a clue?
Wondering if the song was.
No, that's horrible singing, by the way.
I go for it.
He's got a look at Lewis Palmer about him with that picture in his face anyway.
I played for Mumbai City in 2015.
Mumbai City?
Yeah, not River City. Mumbai.
Mark Crosas would have never been captain.
Mark Crosas has never played for Mumbai City. Into the comments again. Let me see what the crack is. Monty said I'm a fanny. Don't know why, but okay. Pat McLaughlin, no, it's not. Paul McFarlane said Dermot Desmond. Definitely not. Franz McNugget said Maeda. Nope.
Mumbai City. It's obviously left us to went in there.
Oh.
I've not a clue, man. Not a clue.
Come on. One he is. It was one he is.
Nah.
No,
right.
Than that, like.
You want more clues?
I'll need it.
Right, okay. Let me see. I was Motherwell under 18 manager in 2019. I don't know if that clue's harder than the first one.
See these fucking teams getting ex-players with fucking jobs in the youth team.
So we've got, he represented Mumbai City in 2015.
Freddie Lundberg went to India, I'm sure, but I don't ever remember him managing under fucking 18.
No, he definitely didn't. He definitely. I'll give you another one. Right, this is mad. It's 1-0 to Franny out of 4 so far. We're on the second one. Second, who am I? I've also played for Toronto FC.
Is it Darnell D?
Is it Darnell D? Are you locking it in, James?
Well, considering it's literally the first name that left my mouth, aye.
It's Darnell D.
I'm sure Darnell D was his first guess. Aye, I'm sure Darnell D.
You said it's not Darnell D because the number's wrong, so I couldn't say it. I couldn't give you it because you moved on from it.
That's a tough school, by the way. That's a tough school, like.
So it's one each. I'll give it to you, James, but you have to lock in the answer. You can't say it's the wrong number. Come on here.
At least you're saying the right answer and you're getting it. I'll give you it.
Right, player number 3. What we're thinking here?
I'm between 2. Oh no, well, is it Bratpack?
It's not Bratpack, nope.
Is it Andy Tom?
James? Nope, it's not Andy Tom. Nope.
Right, I'm going to go with my first one was Vida Rusev.
It's not Peter Reseff.
Try to see that number around the back of his shorts.
Why are you trying to look at the back of his shorts?
Because there's a number at the back of his shorts.
In my mind, that was funny.
Paul Lambert.
Nope. Pat McLaughlin was brought back. Magic Blaze Alan Thompson. Nope. Paul McCallum. Nope. Patrick McLaughlin
Stephen
again.
Mahe.
No.
Stephen
No.
Mahe.
Who's the snitch? A man with a skull. I'll give you it. Who's the snitch? No, it's not. It's not Stephen Mahe either.
Is it? I don't know if that strips too early. Is it Jackie Mack? Jackie McNamara?
He's right. Let's calm it down. Right. We'll come back into it with a clue. We'll come back into it with a next week clue. They'll probably give you it. I played for Grasshopper Club Zurich.
Oh, no, you've said that. It's obvious.
It's obvious. It's staring you right in the face, literally.
We obviously signed him for there then, I'm assuming.
Nope.
All right, and that's not helped me whatsoever then. Like the clues helped me.
Well, I can tell you in the comments that one person has it right so far. Yep, one person has it right. Yep, fair play to you. Great shout. Evening, Lindsay. We're doing a wee bit of who am I here. Don't worry, we'll be on the comments shortly.
Does the man currently scout for us? Or did scout for us?
Oh,
Yes.
I could really be a snitch. Oh no, that's no, because he doesn't work for us, isn't he?
Is it
Yes, James.
Tosh McKinley?
It is indeed Tosh McKinley. So it's 2-1.
See, be fair, it was
2-1
that
to-
Zurich King. Aye, fair play.
Nah.
That jogged my memory.
See, my clues are brilliant. My clues are top notch. The last one. Now this should be easy.
Oh, is that
Conor
our man,
Hazard.
Stephen? Is that Barkas?
It's not Parkas.
Conor
Aye.
Hazard.
No,
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Scott Bain.
it is Scott Bain. So it's 2 each between you two. That will be sorted out at the end when we do our quiz, which, by the way, is on European football. So it'll be quite interesting, to be fair. Like European football as a whole, not just one thing. But yeah, that was good crack.
The Italian expert, and he's the Italian mastermind.
Serie B, Serie C, and that. Paul McFarlane, your clues are not a tosh. Again, that's very good work there with the words. Patrick McLaughlin said, Scott Bain, next season's number 1. No, not. Sam Fan has got it right, and Paul got it right as well. But look, we'll move on from that. And we'll oh, by the way, there was a connection with all them players. What was it?
Who was it? Scott Bain.
Tosh McKinley. Darno D. Niall McGinn.
They all have eyes.
No.
What played with Aberdeen?
No.
I don't even know if they did.
They all played with Dundee and Celtic because we're playing Dundee in the weekend. I try to make it, wee bit of cohesion there as a unit, the collective.
Decent.
Did you like it? I thought it was good. Yeah, Paul McFarlane got it, Dundee, straight away. You know what I mean? So take it as you will. Thank you, Paul McFarlane. But James, we finished on a goalkeeper, and one of our goalkeepers is retiring. Joe Hart, who stood up for a penalty kick, missed it, winked and laughed, and then saved us and sent us through to the final. So let him away with it. But he had a wee night for himself, a few special guests, Cal McGregor, Brendan Rodgers, a couple of people he knows from his playing days down south. And he was talking about a new role that he's had a discussion with Rodgers within Celtic Football Club. I think for like Joe Hart, with his experience, his knowledge of the game, his knowledge of the English markets, the Scottish markets now, and the European markets, and also playing for top clubs, and having him around, if so be it, hypothetically here, the goalkeeping department, to help the likes of the young crop coming through, like Josh Clark, who's on loan to Ayr, Scott Baines, obviously an old head in there, and probably the two goalkeepers we're going to get in the summer. Do you think it'd be a good thing to keep Joe around after what he's achieved with Celtic and what he's done throughout his whole playing career?
To be honest, probably no. I think maybe a wee bit harsh, but Stevie Woods, I mean, do you really need two goalkeeping coaches, or is he going to be the fucking pathway to the goals or some manager or whatever? But no, I mean, Stevie Woods has done a great job when you think back. He basically revitalised Craig Gordon's career. He made Fraser Forster the goalkeeper that he is, revitalised Joe Hart's career. So, no, to be honest with you, obviously what he said was class. I've done a total 180 on Joe Hart, I must admit, in terms of what I thought of him prior to him coming to Celtic. I always thought he came off as a bit of a knob, to be honest.
So did I.
I totally rang with that. To be fair, ever since he's been here, he's really good to listen to. He always talks sense. He seems to have his head screwed on. But in terms of what he said, look, as conversations we're going to have when it comes to the youth team and all that, I have absolutely no doubt that we'll be on the phone to Joe Hart to become our goalkeeping coach at one point down the road. But for the time being, nah, I don't see the need for him.
Yeah, no, again, look, as it's sentimentality, friendly jobs for the boys. We're going to come on to a couple of new coaching roles that have been made and filled. We'll talk about who's filled them shortly. But Joe Hart, Paul McFarlane said goalkeeping scout. Brian McGarry said he said he'll offer advice. I think for me anyway, look, having a person of that ilk and stature in the game, someone to lean on like that, I think it is a good thing in a way to have him around the club, be associated still going forward. And I mean, since the turn of the year, Franny, I think he's been excellent. I haven't been Joe Hart's biggest fan. Me and you stayed on the Barcast training for about a year too long. And I mean, by the way, Barcast is being linked with Sevilla. Madness, because he's having a fantastic season at Utrecht and Holland. But that shows you sometimes you don't make it at Celtic and do it elsewhere, which is fair enough. He was a good goalkeeper, in my opinion. But Joe Hart, keep him around the club. Would that be something for you?
It depends on what capacity, Stephen. I like goalkeeping coach. I'm way James has decided he's sick, isn't he? I'm with him in the sense that do we need two goalkeeping coaches? I'm assuming we don't, because usually what you've maybe got 3, maybe 4 goalkeepers, like a young one, and I think generally they'll kind of help out with the training and help each other. It's obviously a specialised area, I feel like, and I think they sort of train in the main, train themselves away from the first team, I feel like. So no, because I think, like James made great points regarding Stevie Woods. He's well thought after. I mean, even Joe Hart himself came up. I think he said he came up and spoke to Stevie Woods. He spoke to other guys, like Fraser Forster and stuff, regarding Stevie Woods. So he knew he was coming up to what were a good coach and who could maybe help him even at his latter end of his career move forward with his career and still get something out of it. So from a goalkeeping coach point of view, I would say no, unless there's something we don't know about Stevie Woods. Could we have him as like leaning on him for advice and stuff? I don't think that's a bad thing, especially if you've, like you say, his connections in the UK and stuff like that. Going down south, there might be keepers in the EPL or even the Championship, but especially maybe in the EPL, young up and coming English keepers or British keepers anyway that are maybe not got to get a sniff. But he could maybe go to him, well, look what I done. I know I was 35, 36 when I came up. I know I was maybe 35, 36 when I came up. But look what it done for my career. I had 3 good seasons there. You could do that, and then that could get you where you maybe want to be. Maybe not at the club you're currently at, but if you've got to Celtic, they will give you the opportunity to showcase your talent. So, I mean, that goes throughout any player that comes in. If anybody which kind of holds a stature like Joe Hart within the game anyway, certainly in the UK, it's handy not necessarily to have these guys around, but to keep things very civil and keep it very professional. And so, like I say, you just don't know. He could end up as a goalkeeping coach somewhere, and you just maybe need a goalkeeper, and he could say to him, well, do you know anybody? And it's somebody you could probably trust and things like that. So I am similar to James, where it's, do you need two goalkeeping coaches? If it's sort of for a professional point of view, leaning on for advice, I am fine with it. I'm not against them staying around, but it's really what capacity, what would they need for him to stay around? And that's like, I'm a massive Joe Hart fan, and when you think his mentality and the character it's massive. It will be massive to lose that in the dressing room, but keeping him doesn't necessarily give you that in the dressing room. Just when he's retired, it doesn't seem like he wants to go into coaching anyway, going by his words as well. So I don't know where it would be with him, but I think just keeping it very civil and professional with him is not the worst idea.
Maybe he's going to be like the new kind of product ambassador, for Head and Shoulders, Celtic collaborations and things of that nature. You never know. Things like that could happen. There's big Anthony Dunnan. I knew he'd be straight in here. Can't be on the coaching road as he doesn't have the badges, but absolutely, if he wants to stick around in any sort of capacity, it'll be absolute madness to turn him down. It'd be interesting to get your take on the next topic. When we get stuck into it. But look, I think we can all agree, Joe Hart's loved his time with Celtic. I've been up and down with him, but he has been a success throughout his whole tenure anyway, winning trophies and obviously trebles and that mixed in a double as well. So let's hope we can give him that send-off towards the end of the season, James. And look, a thing that was announced, I think it was a couple of days ago now, Darren O'Dea is Celtic's new pathway manager. The gap between the youth academy, the first team, kind of providing that seamless transition across the whole kind of transition period that young players will face going into a first team environment. I remember years ago, City started this kind of trend, in my head anyway. Julian Lescott, when he got injured and he had to retire, he was appointed something along them lines, but I think his was more like a loans manager. But with this, James, there's been a whole lot of backlash that I've seen online in our group chat today when I posted the topics that we're going to run over. We're not scripted. I don't send out words for people to say. It's just a topic again. And people, it caught fire straight away. Willie was in saying one thing, everyone was saying another thing, and it was just head to head, and it was good crack actually reading it and work. But jobs for the boys, it looks apparent. It looks like to me now what they've done is they've took away that co-management system at the B team level. They've promoted Darren O'Dea and kept McManus as the sole coach or manager of the B team. Basically, what merits Darren O'Dea to get a role like this, which, by the way, is a promotion. He's basically working alongside Rodgers in the first team environment. He'll be making big calls and judgment calls and young players coming through. What qualifies him, James?
Well, mate, we've been on here for months now, and we've said we need a left back, a goalkeeper, we'll take another striker, a director of football, but top of the list, it's got to be a youth team pathway development manager. We've all said it at one point in the last few months, so it's just good to see that we've got that one ticked off. It's been a gap that we've needed filled. How long has it been since we had a youth team development pathway manager? So
there's loads of pathways, mate.
It's just good to get one in. But in all seriousness, look, and as I said in the group chat, I kind of phone both sides of the fence with the whole youth development thing. Look, the Darren O'Dea thing is a lot of nonsense. It's a totally made up position for basically just to keep him in a job. I think. What is his day to day going to be? Is he genuinely? What is he doing? Is McManus
sweeping the path?
Is McManus going to say, "Aye, he's good, he's not very good," and then he's passing it on to Rodgers? It's just a totally made up position. But as I said today, look, there is an absolute jobs for the boys culture at Celtic, undeniably. We've discussed it time and time again. The Strattings, the Lobbles, Ross Desmond has made statements about how that when his dad passes his share zone, it will be him that picks him up. So there totally is a jobs for the boys culture. McManus, O'Dea, to deny it would be daft. But at the same time, when it comes to youth development in general, as I said in the group chat, for me, Celtic absolutely could and probably should be doing better in the youth development side of it. But I think the bigger issue is just Scotland in general when it comes to youth development in football. We're playing in the Lowland League, we're literally playing against postmen and plumbers, and as I said, even last year, that Open Goal podcast had a team in it. And look, no disrespect to the teams, obviously, that's just going to play them on their belt. But but if that's what our kind of best youth talents are playing against week in, week out, and then if at some stages throughout the season we're going to have to rely on them, we're literally within a week asking them to jump 4 divisions in quality. So that in itself is too big an ask for me. I think the B team thing is the biggest kind of show of cutting your nose to spite your face. In theory, it's a good idea, but then when you read all the caveats that you can't get promoted, so you're essentially stuck in that Lowland League. What is it if they play? Is it 5 games or more for the first team?
They can't play in it.
Aye, they become ineligible for the B team. So, and that's kind of what I was asking about the Daniel Kelly thing earlier. When that boy came in, didn't really set a fit rang, but what they surprised me, I don't know if it's if you play 5, then you can't play.
I think you play 5 games, aye.
So he must be sitting on 4 or 5 anyway. And as I say, like when it gets to that scenario, I mean, you're never really, unless they're absolutely flying, you're never really going to be coming for the B team and starting every game for Celtic. You're going to be in and out. So if you make 5 appearances off the bench and say the first 15 games of the season, and then you're kind of snookered for the rest of it because you're not really going to get minutes. You've essentially just wasted a year of your development in terms of actually getting to play football. And then obviously, as we were talking about as well in the group chat, in terms of getting the best coaches and things like that, which no harm to Stephen McManus and Dermot Desmond, I don't think they're the best coaches available. I don't think they've tore up any trees with the B team. So why? But then at the same time, I say, why would you bring in the best quality if in an ideal world you're probably be looking to loan players out to a higher level to get that experience? So for me, there definitely is things that Celtic should be doing better, but I think the reserve league in a way is a massive part of it. The B team in the Lowland League, like the Rangers even pulled their team out it this year and kind of done their own thing. I don't know the ins and outs of what they've done. But I wouldn't be against us doing it, to be honest. I just think it's a total and utter waste of time. Essentially, what we're doing is just developing players for lesser teams because, like we've seen before, like there's no really moving on anywhere. They're not really doing anything for Celtic, and then when they're moving on, I mean, you think of the players that's left, and I know that was the point of the kind of topic was Karamoko Dembele, but as I said in the group chat, I know you're saying he was doing well for Blackpool, but can you imagine we were linked with Karamoko Dembele and we knew nothing about him? He was just a 21 or 22-year-old coming in for Blackpool, having flopped at France.
But the difference is, James, the difference is we had him on our books. He was the most hyped youngster in European football when he was 13, right up until he made his debut. And so then, but the big difference is with Farouz. I think his attitude was all wrong. I think his whole kind of demeanour, and he wanted to leave very early on.
Everybody,
but I don't think you can. I think if you look at Karamoko Dembele, you look at Ben Doak, albeit Liverpool come in for him in the end, and you can't really say no. You look at all different youth prospects we've let go. Leo Hjelde, the defender, who is looks like a top defender of the Championship at the minute, playing for Sunderland, I believe now. He left Leeds, but these guys could come in. And Anthony McGinty was saying today, James, as well. I'll come to the wee second, Franny, about these people could be that kind of substitute squad player instead of us squandering 3 to 4 million quid on someone to sit there and be paid high wages and relatively do fuck all in a Celtic shirt. And then you can give the likes of your Karamoko and Dembele's better runs in the team, Ben Dokes, etc., etc. And you look at it as well. Look at Barcelona. They're starting 16-year-old players at the Champions League. They're starting 17, 18. And look, I I get the culture's different over in Spain, different coaching cultures, different climates, that can affect everything. But if we look at this, and if we try and, I don't know, kind of individualize it, right? We're relying on Darren O'Day and Stephen McManus to coach our next crop of young players coming through. They've got no coaching, in my opinion, experience. I know Darren O'Day was in Motherwell on the red things, but that doesn't necessarily qualify to be Celtic. Basically in charge of the pathway development now of the young players. And we let more young players go than we give a chance. Yes, you can point to KT, Cal McGregor, Forrest, and blah, 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 but there's so many we've let go, and they've turned out to have fantastic careers, and that to me is not good enough. There needs to be a coach in that system who recognises quality. And I know Anthony Dunn's in the comments says it's about attitude and things like that, but a lot of young players have stinking attitudes, and they've got good quality. It's how you coach them, a lifestyle. You had a coaching to be that 24-hour athlete that Rodgers always speaks about, and we let these guys go at the end of the day. So why have a youth structure that produces relatively fuck all?
See, to be honest with you, I actually can't disagree with you in anything that you've said. And like when I was saying that I think Celtic should be doing more, that is part of it. We don't see the youth coming through. Like for instance, we've seen Daniel Kelly this year, but then as I say, that's limited because I'm assuming Mitchell. I forgot about him as well, to be fair. But you think of guys like Karamoko Dembele, as you say. Oh, is he? But Dembele, like, we heard about him for years, and we never really got to see him. Don't get me wrong, we literally heard from him when he was about 10 onwards. Like, genuinely, but we didn't really get a good look at him. Ben Doak, albeit was still obviously quite young at the time, but he came on against Rangers in that game as a kind of Hail Mary effort to get him to stay, and then he was out the door to Livingston, out the door to Liverpool no long after. So I agree with you in that sense, but at the same time, like you're saying about O'D and McManus not being like qualified coaches for that level, and I do agree with that. But see, at the same time though, see if we appointed the best available youth coach to manage Celtic B in the Lowland League, regardless of what way you dress that up, from one Saturday to the next, if we have to bring in a youth player, they're going to have to jump 4 divisions. And if you are good enough that you can do that, then you're not going to want to hang about and play in the Lowland League. But at the same time, you might not be good enough to start every week for Celtic. So you find yourself in that kind of middle ground, which is what I believe the players that have left have kind of found themselves in. Look, of course, the money that has been offered, like Bayern Munich and Liverpool and things like that, of course, it will be life-changing. But as I say, for me, the issue is bigger and wider than Celtic. Like the players you mentioned there, like Callum McGregor, James Forrest, and Tierney. McGregor and Forrest would have, even Tierney, I think as well, they would have come through with the reserve league. I stand to be corrected in Tierney, to be fair, but Tierney, as far as I'm aware, he was never highly rated as a youth player. He's told the story about how it was just kind of more luck than anything.
The inspiration from Celtic, really.
When Ronnie Dyler brought him in and obviously got the chance and never looked back. But I mean, we've had a few players. I mean, even like Calvin Miller. I'm sure Calvin Miller won awards at a young age for being like the best player at his age group or whatever. And he came into the team and he didn't ever look great. And then you look now and he's playing for Falkirk in League One. And look, fair dues, fucking 100 times better than we ever did. But I just think in terms of like,
that's fucking true.
What like the quality that we speak about coming through, and then we don't get the opportunity, and then they're away. And as I say, it's a tricky one because I agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, I still think the issue is bigger than Celtic. I think the issue is a Scottish football thing as opposed to anything else. I mean, even look at the Scotland national team, for instance. It's maybe a bad example, but out with Callum McGregor, I don't think any of them actually play in Scotland or kind of come through a Scottish team as such.
I think you can say the same now about the under-21 team. When you see the call-up list for that, it's all Aston Villa, Chelsea's, Liverpool's, and maybe the odd Hearts and Celtic and Sevco in there. But the vast majority, like you say, James, are training out with Scotland, so to speak. So getting exposed to different cultures. I mean, you look at Lewis Ferguson. I know we're going off the tangent here, playing in Serie A, being the captain of Bologna. You look at Hickey, who done that one over Italy and stuff. Josh Doidge, who's playing over there at the minute. And Franny, I mean, talking about Darren O'Day as well, and kind of throwing the rest of it into the mix. Where do you stand on it all? The kind of youth development side and that whole pathway development manager, and just a fancy name for a job, basically, to keep Darren O'Day in one.
I mean, it does seem like just a job title made up to justify keeping him in there. But it's like I think James kind of makes a lot of good points. Like, yes, Celtic probably could do more. I mean, hands up, at the time, I was probably a bit short-sighted with the B team sort of set up with the lower league gap. I thought it was a good idea, but
so did I at the time.
we're getting playing competitive football, but that was probably more just wanting my B team or reserve team, whatever you want to call it at the time, playing football again, because obviously we went a few years without really any football for the reserve league, reserve players. So I think I was just looking at it from that point of view, like very short-sighted. Because like you say, it's to not be, there's no jeopardy in the league for them. So
No.
I appreciate it's obviously it'll be getting maybe drilled into them. This is the way the first team plays, so this is the way you're going to play to try and make that sort of a step up as easy as possible. But when, like James said, when you're playing against guys that's football at that level's kind of a hobby for them. They'll take it as professional as they can be, but it's essentially a hobby. They'll be getting maybe paid £20 a week or whatever, and probably need to carry goals sometimes to train and things like that. And some of them will be lucky to train twice a week. It'll be community centres, 4G pitches and that, be weather permitting, guys work permitting. Some of the guys probably can't train cause of work and will just be turning up at the weekend for a game of football. So it's then, like, I know some, like, I can't say I've watched a big game of football, and I'm also a wee bit of the attitude that I'm more just focused on the first team, and what happens there. But I don't think it should be ignored, the sort of the B squad. And it's, I just think we do need to try and do more. Obviously, you're redeveloping Barrowfield, and that's got to be for them. But
it's a good thing.
It's a great thing. It might help keep some players, because you're giving them better training facilities and that to what Barrowfield is now. But that's not going to happen overnight. I mean, most talents coming through don't happen overnight. We do have to, not to sort of Kieran Tierney's, James Forrest and Callum McGregor levels, but in recent years we've had Ralston and Stephen Welsh, who not necessarily mainstays, but they're first team squad players. So that's boys that have came through, maybe not to the level we'd hope, but your Kieran Tierney's and that are only got to come through every season. It's simply not possible. And I do, as I say, you do go back to that sort of Lowland League, and if you look at Celtic's position there, it doesn't make for good reading to try and justify guys like Stephen McManus and Darren O'Day in the job. But then, like James said, it's a poor quality of league. How are you going to get the best coaches? And let's be honest, youth football, everybody in the world wants the best youth player in the world. So teams like your Barcelona, Man City's, Man United, all your teams with a lot more cash than Celtic can just have ridiculous amounts of money involved in sort of youth players, and can go and sign guys at 10, 11-year-old. And I think legally now you can, but there probably will be brown envelopes, I feel like, getting handed to parents and stuff, a young talent, just to say, well, once he's of legal age, we'll snap him up and we'll do everything for him. So I just think it's a big problem, but like James said, I think it's a Scottish problem more than a Celtic problem with this day. I do think maybe all the teams need to sort of knuckle down, bump their heads together, I feel like, and get a reserve league back where they're no limiting guys, how many guys playing playing the top because I don't know if that the boy Kelly is injured or whatever, but he just doesn't. He seemed to have went away from the pitch, and like James said, he's never really done anything wrong. The guy, he deserved to have a running.
He signed a new deal as well.
But equally, the money, the money involved in now, managers. It's hard for managers to take a risk on a player, especially when we're not playing brilliant. Let's be honest. And if you're saying we really need to get things going, we need something to look at, and you're going. I mean, no offence to the boy Kelly, but if just because we're talking about him there and the call, we need a wee bit of dig, wee bit something in midfield, or we'll just bring that Kelly boy in. It's no fair in the laddie either. It's just I think we do. There is folk probably more intelligent than us that really need to hear a serious think about reserve football again and get that for, even if it doesn't benefit Celtic. I mean, I know we're not necessarily all big international football fans, but obviously guys like Ross, Will and Anthony it'll help the Scottish game, help the Scottish national team, which inadvertently can have an impact on us when it comes to coefficient points and things like that. It has to be a long-term plan. But I do think that the romance they try to bring through homegrown talent always should be there. And it's you maybe, and I think when you're not bringing it through, it's easy to look at, and I have criticised guys like Dan Adair, McManus, myself, it's easy to look at them and say, well, what are they doing to justify being in their roles? And like I say, but it's all the other top teams will probably want the top talent as well and have the best coaches. It's hard.
See, the one for me in terms of just highlighting our youth development and how I think it's just totally flawed. Luca Connell, we signed Luca Connell as a teenager for Bolton, and it was the season Bolton were in the Championship and they get relegated, and he was playing for them. He played a few games for them. We signed him as a promising youngster at a cut price deal. Fair dues. He then sat about for 6 months or a year, and then we loaned him out. But we loaned him out, so he signed for the Championship in Scotland, was here, say a season, he was here a season, never kicked the ball. We then loaned him out to Queen's Park, who at that time were in League 2 in Scotland. And then apparently had a storm of a season with him, as you would expect, obviously, considering the level that he played at previously. We then loaned him back to Queen's Park in League 1 the following season, and then obviously he just ended up getting released. And look, that's the one I always get back to, and I just think, what was the plan for that boy? What was the thinking? Was it just help him out a mate at Queen's Park? I don't know if it would have been Owen Coyle or whoever it would have been at the manager at that point, but look, what was the plan for that boy's development? You're signing a guy who's played at the Championship in England, which obviously at that age is a great level to play at.
18, wasn't he, at that time?
Aye, and then we're loaning him out to what is essentially a part-time league. So that's the thing. That's the kind of one I always get back to. And I think even Ralston would fall into the category as well. But when I think young players that we've maybe signed or that have come through the youth setup, like kind of semi-recent times, like Ralston, Ayer,
Montgomery,
guys like that, they've all went out on loan, and the loan has benefited them. Welsh is probably the outlier, certainly off the top of my head, in terms of actually getting a few appearances. So for me,
Welsh went to Morton and he was shite.
Right enough. I forgot about that. So Welsh was out on loan as well. So, but for me, I think the loan market, in terms of your current situation, it would benefit us more than anything else. And I think it's the one thing that we've got actual evidence to point to and say that. But just to piggyback off the back of something that you have said, and to be honest, I don't think I would necessarily agree with it. Just speaking about it in terms of Celtic's youth team, you were saying that like the redevelopment of Barrowfield and things like that you would see that as a positive. But see, in terms of, let's say the redevelopment of Barrowfield is finished tomorrow, and I know the women's team are using it and all the rest of it, but let just keep it on the youth setup. How do you think that would, like a genuine question, I'm not being an arse, but why do you think that would benefit Celtic? Say it was fine the Mora, but we still found the youth set up in the Lowland League with like these kind of circumstances.
I appreciate, obviously, there is a lot of change. Like, the league side, it probably has to change. I concede that bit as well. I just think it might be a wee bit an easier sell saying this is your training facilities. You've got you've got a stadium here as opposed to, I don't even know the stadium. I don't even think they use Lennoxtown for the
Clyde,
the
I
B
think
squad.
they're
I
not
think
the Clyde Stadium,
Clyde.
something like that.
So it's having a home, if you like, having a home stadium. There's it maybe is short-sighted for me saying things like that. It just sounds. I feel it's maybe a better sell saying things like that. Just, oh, by the way, you've got your own stadium, better training facilities. Because I'm not too sure all the sort of youth players train at Lennoxtown. I could be way off of that. I think some of them still train at Barrowfield and things like that. So it's maybe just
I think as
improving
well,
it for them, making it easier for them to stay.
A lot of young players, like Franny said, look at things like aesthetically and how it looks like on the outside and what they perceive to be nice and luxury and fancy, and your ice baths, your cryo chambers, your gyms, your physios, your massage therapists, and let's hope it's not the ex-players doing the massage therapists as well. But I think like what Franny said, look, if you park the coach to one side, if you've got a brand new shiny building and a brand new shiny pitches, it is exciting, and it is something for me anyway as a young player if I was a young player and had hopes to play for a top club like Celtic, I would be like, wow, look at this facility. This is what we have. We've got our own personalised chef, and this brings us as a club, academy level wise anyway, into the kind of now, the present, instead of taking your shorts net off at the side of Barrowfield and putting on your trackies to do a running and things like that. So, and that's a good sense of redevelopment, in my opinion. The downside of it, and I think you're alluding to it, James, is we're stuck with the same old faces, the same old ideas, the same old coaching methods. And yeah, that's a downturn. But as I said, and I think Franny's saying it as well, if you're a young player and like a lot of things are online and social based now, you're like, wow, this is my club, this is my facility, and it'll be all over their Instagrams and Twitter accounts and that type of stuff. I think young players love that side of it as well now.
No, I mean, that's fair points.
Well, I was going to say, this maybe I've been a wee bit of a dick, James, so I apologise. But see if you've got like
you are a good dick.
I know. See, have you got like the new training sort of complex, the new sort of youth complex, the women's complex thing? Maybe that will help guys like Dan Ade and Stephen McManus. They've got better facilities to
bigger rooms
to do the training, and maybe help you get that better sort of the more renowned youth coaching going. Well, I've got fucking better facilities to work with.
Aye.
I don't know, but I think I do concede the league they play in. There's only so much you can do if you're still got to be in that Lowland League.
Aye. No, I mean, as I say, they're all fair points. I was genuinely asking because for me, I think there needs to be kind of sticks and bricks changes to the youth set up in Scotland before it really benefits us. And like what you're saying about them having a stadium, and mate, that's fair. And to be honest, it's not something that I'd actually thought about. So I fully take that point. But the thing about having the better facilities and all that, I just think at the time that was what Lennoxtown was supposed to be, and it's not really kind of bore probably as much fruit as it should have. And obviously, as
the last time that place was redeveloped was when it was built.
Exactly.
There's been nothing really done to it at all.
Aye. No, just genuinely interested, mate.
After Barrowfield, if we're going to be doing any sort of infrastructure work, it needs to be in that main stand. It needs to be in the main stand. Just the fucking toilets and the kiosks and that are terrible, man.
I know they are putting money into Lennoxtown to upgrade that for the first team, which is probably a welcome thing, James, like you said. And that was one of the rumours going about, that if Anne stayed, there'd be 200,000 poured into the analytics and data, and there'd be a new data room set up. And look, that's fell by the wayside. But hopefully the club do take heed of some kind of changes and move forward in a positive direction. But Franny, James mentioned, was signing Luke O'Connell, helping out a mate and giving him the Owen Coyle at the time, who was managing Queen's Park. The under-18s manager for going lower than the B team here from Stephen McManus. And funny enough, the only outsider appointment that we did have, and Steve, I think it was Steve McLaren, not the Steve McLaren, former English manager, but Steve McLaren, who worked closely with Postecoglou in the past at previous clubs. He was drafted in when Ange was still here to be the under-18 manager. And I remember watching them in that cup final game. Do you remember that crazy cup final game? It was on like BBC Scotland. It was like 5-5 or something. It was crazy,
yeah.
but they were playing like the first team, the inverted fullbacks, and the high press and stuff. So obviously that was introduced them at a young age. The replacements being touted around to take on this role is between, now wait for it, wait, out of the box thinking, we're ready for it. Johnny Hayes and Charlie Mulgrew are the favourites to take over, or fight with each other to take over the under-18 position. Does this say it all, or does someone have to take a chance somewhere and start from the bottom?
I mean, I suppose there's fair arguments for both sides. You've got to. It's in any job, any profession. You've got to start somewhere with some. You going into a new role, you've got to start somewhere. Somebody's just take like Johnny Hayes and Mulgrew, whoever they go into, it's going to be their first job at the end of the day. So somebody's got to have to take a punt on them. But then I don't think Celtic are maybe helped by the sort of the narrative, if you like, the jobs for the boys type attitude. It's there. There's evidence to back it up. It's hard to argue against it when you look at some of the appointments and things like that. Then an appointment like this would just obviously further advance that argument for folk that are on that side of the fence. So, but just not like I watch it up and go. I know we can all maybe talk again, but Charlie Mulgrew certainly talks the talk on that. He certainly talks the talk about producing that in a park or a training park. I admit is probably way different. Yeah, I know he is. I only threw up and go. He is doing some sort of youth sort of development things with Andy Halliday and a couple of other ex-pros. I think they're doing sort of drugs with various age groups. So
I've seen that on Instagram.
Does look like he has got that is where his interest lies out with. Well, obviously now he's retired. Johnny Hayes, unfortunately for Johnny Hayes, I just think he always looked like an alcoholic. So I just didn't really know what he does. I'm probably going to prejudge him on that. I just didn't see how he would do it. He's just had like a big side almost, isn't he? It's just mad. So, but I don't know with Johnny Hayes. Like I can't judge him fairly. I'll be honest with you.
I think Stephen Ray sums it up. Johnny Hayes teaching youth. He has the first touch of a steel railing.
See, if you want to talk about, when it comes to ability, a lot of top coaches, I know, like Jose Mourinho wasn't a great football player.
Well, I mean, Arsene Wenger as well. People like that.
Wasn't a great football player. There's a lot of top coaches that weren't good football players.
But I think that argument is that argument to me, like saying about top players not necessarily being great managers. Yeah, it's a valid one. But the angle I'm coming at this, James, is the thinking that we have again to fall back to Mulgrew or fall back to Johnny Hayes to again nurture the youth academy and the products that Darren O'Dea will be overseeing. Imagine Darren O'Dea overseeing that, cleaning all the paths at the new Barfield development, sweeping them and getting the wee leaves off and things, and Johnny Hayes in the boardroom with a bottle of cider like Franny thinks he is. But I mean, you look at it. Yes, look, again, I don't think your starting position for your new coaching venture should be with a club like Celtic. I think you need to grit your teeth somewhere else. I mean, you need look at Rodgers' kind of path. He started off at like Reading, places like that, Watford being their youth coaches, and promoted the academy director. And, scouts and at Chelsea, and then he eventually got a management role. So he done his path correctly. I don't think that the likes of Johnny Hayes and Mulgrew have the right, or Mulgrew and Hayes were good players and no right for Celtic, but that shouldn't anyway guarantee you a position. And it is an important position. That's not be ignorant to the under-18 squad. Again, it's youth academy players coming through the system that they're going to be the ones to coach them. They shouldn't just walk into a position like that because of their name or the connection they have with Celtic in the past.
Again, this is one that I probably fall on both sides of the fence with. if you asked me 6 weeks ago who our under-18s manager was, I couldn't have told you. If whoever was coming in to take the under-18s job was called Davy Johnson and they was coming in for nowhere, would it even get a mention in passing, to be honest? But because it is an ex-player and it's something that annoys the life out of me as well, it's the jobs for the boys stuff again. And it just further obviously highlights it. It never fails to amaze me that how the best man for a job at Celtic always seems to have either a relative or a direct connection to the club. And look, I agree with what Franny says. Charlie Mulgrew seems a good guy, likeable on that open goal. He does talk a good game, but sometimes he sounds like a kind of walking, talking textbook. It's a bit like, see, when you watch Match of the Day and it does my nothing, that the big screen and they pause it and they start drawing lines, he should be there. And like, you could do that at any point in any game and somebody will be...
Do you know what? I thought about doing that on here sometimes, but it's too time consuming.
Oh, mate, it does my boxing, honestly. It's like he should be there. And I'm like, right, any point in any game you could do that. So, but it's just the falling into the jobs for the boys stuff again, which irritates me. I think if Charlie Mulgrew got it, then Johnny Hayes, I think it's only fair that he would get the development pathway to the B team manager's job because we've not got one of them yet. So we need to bridge that gap for 18s to B team.
I like that. I like that.
Go off of that, but mate, as I say, I really fawn both sides of it because, as I say, you asked me 6 weeks ago who our under-18s manager was, I couldn't have told you. And I'm genuinely of the opinion, if this wasn't an ex-player and it was Davy Smith for next door that was taking the under-18s job at Parkhead, nobody would bat an eyelid. But because it's an ex-player, it gets highlighted, and rightly so, that it is jobs for the boys, direct link to Celtic, which is just what we rely on. And it's all throughout the club. It's not just in the boardroom, it's in the dugout, it's in the scouting department, it's everywhere. It's just an absolute culture at the club. It's run like a bowling club. But it genuinely is. It's if your face fits, you'll get a job. So that's it.
Is it mad that my favourite part of any highlight show was the analysis and the lines drawn and the talking through positions and where they should be and what they should be doing? I love all that.
Absolute serial killer stuff, man.
I didn't mind as well. Like, I could sit and listen to guys like Gary Neville every day of the week just talking football. Like, probably I like talking football and like hearing folk talk football. But I would love to be in one of these studios just to see, because I swear to God, I bet half of them are getting told what to say and where to draw the lines and what bit of play to look at. There's no way they're watching that game of football and picking all that up at the same time.
Aye.
I think some guys like Gary Neville and that probably are, but I think guys like Rio Ferdinand probably aren't.
It does my boxing. Gary Neville's a
Like
it does my boxing.
I think this isn't that.
On lines, he's 3 yards out of position. He should swivel in there. All right, he's a break, man.
I think this isn't the last time Gary Neville's going to pop up in this conversation when we talk about what's coming up later on. But before we get to that, Franny, the glorious majority shareholder, I don't know if you saw the clip. I think it was a Celtic World podcast. They have a fella who owns a bar in Italy, I believe, and Dermot Desmond popped in for a drink, and he watched Celtic obviously reach the Scottish Cup final. People are going, why wasn't he at the game? And look, it's the same old thing. He appears at a pub. See, if I was at that pub and had a few scoops into me, I probably would be arrested. And that's bad crack, like, on it. I think, where the fuck's the money? Where's the money? But I mean, is it a good thing? He's mixing with the fans. It shows you that he's not kind of as closed off as we all thought he would be, or he does take a chance because it's Italy and none of the usual kind of the mouthy ones would be there. Just a nice wee pub to watch Celtic play.
Well, let's not beat around the bush. Dermot Desmond's a billionaire. He's no drinking in the same, regardless of where it is, if it's in Glasgow or Italy, he's no drinking in the same pubs as we're drinking. So I don't think the clientele that's in there is the issue. Dermot Desmond wouldn't be strolling into pubs that we'd be in. So I think the pubs are relevant. He obviously would have knew. I don't think he's deliberately been there. He's probably been obviously in Italy, I don't know if he's on a holiday or whatever, and he's probably just known that he could go in and watch the game in there, and obviously somebody has recognised it. Just, I don't know whereabout in Italy it was, if it is a touristy place or whatever he was in, and it's obviously just been another Celtic fan there. And the funny thing I think about it is, like, I argue that Dermot Desmond needs to pump more money in and things like that, or spend some of his money. I think sometimes when he does sort of do things like he did at the start of the season where he geezes a Rodgers but then doesn't really back him.
Fucks off.
It's like, oh well, I've done my bit. There you go. It's sometimes you just need to go that wee bit extra.
Fuck's sake, don't say that, man. Fucking hell.
But it'd be interesting, the person that obviously taken that picture of Dermot Desmond and whatever and post it. I bet it's the same type of person that would probably sit and say he needs to fucking do this, he needs to do that, but it was acting like his pal in that pub. So I think we didn't, like, folk would have made an issue of him not being at the cup semi-final, but then see if he rocked up at the semi-final, folk would be going nuts, going, oh, he's only here because it's the semi-final and you'd be in telly. So the boy, like him or love him, boy couldn't win whatever he was doing.
Well, I mean, he hasn't really endeared himself to the Celtic fans for only 2 win. There's a lot of issues, as we've talked about tonight. Within
I get that. And like, say, would that have changed by him turning up at Hampden on Sunday and Saturday? Nah.
Oh, no, jeez. When he turns up, regardless, even I think it's a disgrace, James, that he never attends the AGMs. I think that's really kind of how would you describe it?
I think
egotistical, and it's a bit, just ignorance. And Franny, you're bang on. See that whoever took that video is the type of person probably to say, do this, do that, and then when Dermot Desmond arrived, and he's like, "Oh, picture time, it's Desmond." No one them ones. Each their own. But James, what about yourself? Any views on Desmond being at the pub and out of the game? A wee bit of backlash online about it, saying why wasn't he present?
I've just took off for the comments, mate. I'm resigning. No, mate, to be honest, I never actually seen the Desmond thing with the pub. But look, if he was there, would he have got a game on the wing or Yang? Possibly. But apart from that, I don't think it would have made any difference. But he's an absent landlord, an absentee landlord. We've seen it before. As you say, the AGM, your majority shareholder, and they can't be asked turning up for the AGM. So it just tells you, look, COVID is, I know we're going to have a bit of a tangent, but
go for it.
The whole kind of COVID scenario, it just kind of showed the level of content that they had the supporters in with the obviously what was going on in the park with Lennon and everything like that, but no even taking that into consideration. Mind the whole thing with the refunds with the season books, but they were basically advising you not to take it, or kind of basically asking you not to take it, and then if you did want to take the refund, you had to jump through hoops to get it and print forms and fill forms in, send them off and all that. So it's just a kind of level of contempt, literally across the board. But I totally missed the thing with him in a pub, but I don't think it's a shock that he wasn't at a Celtic game, to be honest with you.
Probably can't afford to go no more. That's sure. Franz McNugget, Desmond does shows us contempt. Yeah, 100%. And look, as we know, Franny and James, it's a double pivot, and we take a wee kind of tangent into other football issues out with Celtic, just for a bit of chat and a bit of crack in the comments as well. And one thing came out last week, Franny, about the FA Cup down in England has scrapped the replays and basically took away the chance for like a Gateshead, a Woking, a Dorking Town or whatever to get an away gate if they're playing the likes of United, Chelsea, Arsenal and the likes, etc., etc. Does the Scottish Cup do replays still?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think they do they? So
maybe the early rounds. Maybe the early rounds.
Early rounds, yeah.
I think so. Because did we? Off the top of my head, I just remember we had a replay against Arbroath going back. That's about 10 years, mind. Adam, we drew one each with them at Parkhead, and then Adam Matthews scored a peller. It might have changed since then. I can't even remember, to be honest with you. But
well, if we do, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really add to the conversation anyway. But in terms of the FA Cup down in England, Franny, a lot of these wee teams, I mean, they survive basically in these gates coming in, the money, the revenue, the TV money, and even, I mean, the likes of the Scottish Premier League, the likes of Livingston, the Dundees of the world, they rely on and Celtic and Sevco bringing big away crowds and the TV money coming from that. And then obviously I watched that the City game, I believe it was. I can't remember who they were playing. Was it Chelsea? I think it was Chelsea. And Pep Guardiola done his post match with Gary Neville. And I swear to God, by the way, like I was like, what is going on? He was. It's unacceptable to do this. The players need to be healthy. I don't know how to survive this 100-minute game, whatever it was, and blah blah blah. And I think Gary Lineker was like, what did I even say back to this? But it happened anyway. Do you think that the big clubs, I mean, the majority of big clubs in England anyway, have too much sway in what goes on down there within the competitions, within the leagues? I think for me it's a bit of a disgrace that the FA Cup replays have been scrapped.
Well, if I remember right in the group chat, I said that I was not necessarily against it because I think it's one of them. Well, managers are now complaining about too many games, and then Pep Guardiola is one of the biggest. Klopp's arguably the biggest that maybe talks about the number of games now that footballers play. But on one hand, now he's because of that. Like I do think the romance of the cup, you should try and save that as much as you want or much as you can, and whether that be things like replays that are very traditional. I know people are very traditional with certain cups like the Scottish Cup and the FA Cup. So I'm not against the sort of staying traditional in that sense and keeping replays because, like you say, some of these teams just. That is a mental actual name. It's mad that's true. That is his dad's first name.
Oh, is that true? I thought he was joking.
His dad's first name is Neville. It's mad.
Mad.
I know. So it's I'm not against tradition, but equally, I'm neither here nor there with the scrapping replays at the end of the day. But I do appreciate that that's more designed for the bigger teams, so they don't play as many games, but then they'll piss off to Asia or America for a wee tour or something, because there'll probably be weeks in the calendar now that were set aside for these, because obviously there is weeks in the calendar that will be in for cup games and cup replays. I kind of like that idea. That's kind of where I'm like, cup games should be done and dusted on the day, but I will concede to sort of the traditionalists and understand their argument. But like Klopp on one hand will moan about the amount of games he plays, but he'll be happily go away to, like I said, America, go to Asia, go to Australia on tours or whatever. But now he's and then saying we need to scrap replays, we're playing too many games. And now he's moaning that they're scrapping replays and a game maybe needs to get an extra time. And he's moaning about that. And it's like, and also, if you're playing with a Man City, a Liverpool, an Arsenal, a Man, maybe not necessarily Man United now, but if you're playing with a successful team, every player, every manager should want to be a successful team. And the nature of that, one of the pitfalls is just to be successful, you need to play more games. So
exactly,
if you don't want to play more games, go and manage Sheffield United or something. Go and manage a team that just bounces about the league. Just don't be at a big club if you're going to moan at the amount of games you play. It's a nonsense argument, the amount of games.
Paul McFarlane said earlier in the comments, Franny, I don't know if you caught it, they're paid $100,000 a week or more. And
I think that's a shite argument, mate.
It's not a shite argument. I don't understand why
I'm not against anybody getting paid that much.
Well, I do. I think it's a disgrace. The footballers are paid that much money to be
worth it. They're not worth it. But
I agree. Yeah, it happens. It's the money train football, isn't it?
Aye, it's a moot point.
But
I wouldn't watch it if these players that weren't getting paid that kind of money because they wouldn't be coming.
Just a quick one. There's a wee chat on here with Pat Santers and I think Paul McCommon and in the chat. Just a word for you, Pat. Do not go to East Belfast in a Celtic top. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Just if you're going to visit East Belfast, be incognito, wear a black tracksuit and blend in. You'll be fine. But like looking at you, like James here, in regards to the replays being scrapped and things of that nature. I know what Franny said there about Pep Guardiola coming out, and it does sway the argument a bit. This whole culture down in England and multiple other leagues complaining about playing 2 or 3 games within a 7-day period. Like for me to have big enough squads to do it, and I think a lot of footballers they like playing every other couple of days and keeping that momentum going if they're doing well, and vice versa. If they're doing bad, they get another chance a couple of days later to pull themselves out of the mud. And then for me, anyway, I'm kind of a romantic. Like, some of my football memories growing up would have been, look, no allegiance to English football, but like watching the likes of a non-league team, like back in the day, Exeter City and all, playing United or whoever it may be. I mean, Sutton United playing teams in the championship level, like League One, and I'd be sitting just with my dinner on a Sunday watching it, and you just like seeing these wee grounds and filled to the rafters, and the support coming through the local communities, and it brings money to the area. And I know I'm kind of whining on here; it sounds more like a politician here, but I mean, I like all that. I like the romantic side of things, and even when Celtic go to smaller clubs and play at their grounds, I like seeing it. I like seeing different grounds and different arenas and how they look and the support that comes out to support them. And I think it's been took away. And in essence, I know Maestro said it's a cup game; it should be done and dusted on the day. But again, it's the big clubs getting the final say in the decision in that matter.
I think it's a joke, mate, to be honest with you. It always amazes me that football players are surprised that they get asked to play football and they moan about it. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you're paying me fucking 100 grand or upwards, sign me up for 24 hours work 7 days a week, man. I'll do it, no bother. But like the one this year, was it Maidstone United, wasn't it, that kind of go really for that George Ellacobi's team? I'm saying this, I'm just assuming, but I would assume that they're a part-time team and that you'll have guys in that squad doing probably 40 hours a week in work, and like we said earlier, doing football as a hobby. And then you've got Pep Guardiola owing X amount of hundreds of £1,000s a week saying, nah, we can't play 3 times in a week. And it's just like, kind of turn it up a bit, man. And if you're going to a replay with these teams, then it's your own fault. Like, you've either no showed them the respect they deserve, or you've just been terrible. And these, we've seen it ourselves. Like your reference there with the Bucky Thistle. I'm sure it's a split gate in the cups.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it is.
So for these wee teams, I know we're talking about doing south. So say for talking sake, you get a lesser team going to Old Trafford. I was at a few years going back, I was at the Crawley Town game. Crawley played Man United at Old Trafford, and it was more or less a full house. And they'll get obviously a shit ton of money off the back of that. It'll keep them afloat for months, if no years in the following. So the comments, Guardiola's comments were a bit of a joke, to be honest with you. It's a
bit petulant, wasn't it? Bit childish.
It's a bit of a smack in the face to fucking everybody, to be honest with you, that's no a multi-millionaire. It's like when politicians stand up at the fucking box and they tell each other to stop playing politics, and I'm like, well, no, that is literally your job. Can we play politics? Do you know what I mean? It's as I say, football players moaning about playing football. If you can't play 3 games a week, get up, go and be a fucking plasterer or something. Do you know what I mean? And see how hard that is then.
Yeah, I'm of that thinking as well. Who was the politician this week that called out Sevco and their money troubles?
I don't know who it was. I just seen the video.
That was top quality. And a government setting, someone saying that they died. Oh, it was incredible viewing. They love England. They love English people and that, and he does absolutely destroy them. Incredible. That was down in the English Parliament, wasn't it? The Scotland one, was it?
Yes. It was House of Parliament, is what it was called.
Were you about to say the House of Tenants?
I was going to say the House of 10 because it's 10 Downing Street, isn't it?
House of 10. Brunswick Nugget. It was Tony Perkins, Maestro. Bless the wine before you drink it. Perkins ? George Galloway. Yeah, a lot of people hate them, including themselves. But look, I think it was Sam Fran was saying there, Franny, about Nottingham Forest and the comments. I mean, the tweet that they put out questioning Stuart Atwell's allegiance to Luton Town. Look, not really clued up in the Premier League table at the moment. I do know Luton, and I think Forest are in a dogfight for relegation, and obviously results from here all in do affect the outcome of that. They came out and questioned that were referencing 3 decisions that didn't go their way in regards to penalty kicks. UEFA had a meeting with their football board, I believe, and they want next season VAR to be more consistent and transparent. Can you please tell the Scottish Premier League that? That would be fantastic. But you look at the backlash of this, by the way, every time I go in the car, it's like 7:30 in the morning when I'm going to work, and it's like, who's on the breakfast show? Ali McCoy sometimes, and Alan Brazil. And that's been the topic all week. Yeah, from my drive to work all week. I say Wednesday, a couple of days, so be it. I've seen the absolute pathetic rant that Gary Neville went on after this. I thought he turned in absolute. Oh, he pissed me off. Not going to say the word I want to say, but he pissed. See, throw the rule book at them. How dare they bring the game into disrepute? How dare they question the officials' allegiance? How dare they say it and plan cheating? All this when he was a United team who literally swayed officials, and Alex Ferguson kind of handpicked referees to referee United at some points during his tenure. Talk about calling the kettle black there on that one, but I didn't like his kind of outburst. But you look at it, Franny, I'm with Forrest on it. I think it's a good thing. I think people advocating for change and pushing officials to come out and explain their decisions is a good thing. Should they have done it on Twitter? Possibly not. But Twitter reaches millions of people. You can only go through the official channels so many times before you have to take matters into your own hands. And I know there was previous incidents they've been involved in throughout the season that didn't go their way. Liverpool as well had one, and a few other teams. But Forrest have taken that step up a level in terms of putting it out on the online domain and actually naming Stuart Atwell on the tweet, which I thought was actually quite funny. But where do you stand on it? Because I think it's a good step.
Well, it's interesting that we're called paranoid for thinking officials supporting a certain team would show sort of unconscious bias, but in England it's not seen as paranoia. It's just Nottingham Forest being a wee bit naughty and whatever. So that's quite interesting, if you like. But I mean, we all know. I think the Scottish League is the only league certainly in Europe, I think, that I know of that you don't need to disclose what team you support to officiate a game, so you can essentially officiate whatever. I think most leagues around Europe, you need to disclose what team you support. Now, clearly that doesn't then find its way into, well, it maybe does find its way into the VAR team, because obviously the game in question you're talking about, Stephen, it was Everton, Nottingham Forest were playing.
Yep.
Obviously Luton are in, so there obviously will be, there is sort of grey areas. I appreciate obviously Luton are in a bit of a dogfight with Nottingham Forest in the relegation places. And when you see the penalty, the third one for me,
I haven't seen them. I've
seen them. The first two I can understand not getting given. The third one's a penalty every day of the week for me. Every day of the week, I just don't know how that is no given. And like even the handball, as much as I maybe could argue it's not a penalty, fucking referee gives a by kick and everything. He's like, it's a blatant deflection off the player. How have you gave a by kick out of this? And even like I've seen some folk going, well, why does VAR not get involved? And I think some of the panel and commentators were like, well, why does VAR not get involved and give a corner? It's like, these guys don't even understand how fucking what VAR's getting used for and stuff. It can't get used to give a decision like that. And my only issue with it, I think Nottingham Forest have been clever by highlighting the fact that what team the boy supports, because the decisions are very, very debatable, especially the third one. I think it is a penalty. My only pushback on Nottingham Forest is if you're then going to the VAR team and saying, well, you can't support X, Y. Where does it stop for there? That's my only issue. Where does the allegiance then stop? Because you could have a Newcastle fan, for argument's sake, doing an FA Cup game. I know Sunderland done there in the EPL, but if they go to an EPL team in one of the cup games, VAR is in play then. So does a Newcastle supporter no get that game because he supports Newcastle? It's where do you stop? Everybody could have, to a level, maybe have unconscious bias. I just think I think they're doing it right to an extent, saying if you support a certain team, you cannot be involved directly in a game involving that team. Out with that, it's for me. It's where do you stop there? Where do you stop? Like if I say, if for argument's sake, if Celtic are playing, well, if I'm managing the next, like refereeing the next Rangers game or whatever, then I'm got to give decisions all against for that team. It's where do you stop for there?
Well, I mean, it seems like we've got John Beaton from now until the end of the season.
Aye, him or fucking Don Robertson. I mean,
Robertson.
Madness, man. I think ever since we complained about them, they two have. It's been one of the two that's refereed their game. Somebody might correct me if I'm wrong. I think
mate,
it's been they two.
Think that is right. I think I asked that in the group chat at the weekend as well. Because obviously Beaton get the Rangers game, and I think Robertson said every other
Robertson
game.
got the first game. Robertson got the first game after the Hearts game, did they know?
Aye.
I find it quite funny, but Rangers complain about Willie Collum. He wasn't near Ibrox for like 2 years. It's incredible. But we get, we get Madden, Dom Robertson, Andrew Dallas. You know, the bands come out to play. They want to see us fail. But what do you think, James, about this? I know what Franny's saying. Where does it stop? And I think Sam Fran said when the conflict of interest ends, that's where it stops. And in my opinion, look, again, the whole Luton Nottingham Forest thing, I'm not clued up in how many points is between them, blah, blah, blah. But it can impact an outcome of a season. It can impact the points total. And inevitably, where they end up in the final league positions, either relegation or just above it. And I think all the incidents came through Ashley Young. He was involved in them all, wasn't he? I seen that. I seen that on Twitter. I seen him doing an interview. But do you think it's the right thing to do? I mean, could you imagine Celtic putting out a tweet calling out John Beaton and Don Robertson and the like? I think it would go down as stormy us, but I think the SFA would be like, hold on a minute. We're coming after you even more so than we always do.
Again, mate, I think it's one of the ones I can afford on both sides. I think if we put it out, I'd probably be like, aye, fucking brilliant, and then I'd take a step back, but that's maybe a wee bit embarrassing. That should maybe be kept in-house, and we can put a kind of more professional statement out. But I mean, the tweet basically read like a fucking post off a fan forum or a supporters Twitter feed. Do you know what I mean? But like, I think all three of them are penalties. I think the only one that's debatable is the Hon ball, but even at that, I still fall on the side that it's a penalty. The way they've went about it, they've essentially alleged corruption, obviously bringing in the fact that he's a Luton supporter and things like that. So if you're going to get down that road, for me, you need to have a kind of a body of evidence to back it up. You can't just say it and then be like, that one game we didn't get a penalty. You need to have evidence to back that up. So ask questions, by all means, request the audio, put a statement out saying that you think how you can improve VAR and ask for an explanation of the decisions and all the rest of it. But I thought the statement was a bit of a day, to be honest with you. And look, I know we all moan about referees, and rightly so more often than not. But if we put out a statement like that, I'd be like, nah, no, really, for me, stuff like that should be kept kind of in-house. Try and look as professional as you can on the outside. But look, the thing with VR again, and I feel as if I say it pretty much on a weekly basis, I think instantly all this is resolved if we can hear the referees talking to each other.
It'd be brilliant.
Mate, I've said umpteen times, like the three of them I thought were penalties, but see if you can hear the referee give an explanation as to why. Look, I think that's a natural movement towards the ball, blah blah blah. But we don't know that. So, if you're a Nottingham Forest, obviously it's English football, I don't really care. But if you're a Nottingham Forest supporter looking at that, you're obviously going to jump to conclusions. And if they're saying the guy's a Luton supporter, then of course, naturally, you'll put two and two together as we do up here as well. So having just that conversation, and I genuinely, honest to God, I don't get why it can't be implemented when they do it week in, week out in rugby. I don't understand why it can't be a case. Right, I think there's a penalty there. Come and have a look at it. The referee puts the headset on. Right, well, in my opinion, he's jumped up and he's using his arms for leverage, and then the other referee can say, well, I thought he maybe swung an arm out to try and knock the ball into the net, or whatever obviously the conversation would be. But hear how they've got to the conclusion, how they've came to the decision. Don't just, I mean, the 3 incidents are Stonewall penalties for me, so when he's no gain any, and then obviously VR's no doing anything about it, it's only natural that it'll raise questions. And look, since VAR's come in, I think the standard of refereeing's get worse, and I think there's more talking about decisions, and I just feel that would be like 90% eradicated if you could hear the conversations.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair point. How it would work, I don't know, but like I say, I think you're still maybe not necessarily going to agree with the referee's decision, but I think understanding why he's came to that decision, I'm with James in that one. You kind of can go, right, well, I didn't agree with you, but you've explained yourself.
Well, the one
it's the transparency in it. It's the transparency.
100%. The one that kind of right. If we had that, then it instantly clears everything up. Like, I know nothing about rugby. I don't get my way to watch rugby. I couldn't really tell you the rules. But Scotland played, and I seen the end of it on the telly. I think it was France. They played in the Six Nations, and there was one of them. It was right. I think it was like the last play of the game.
I think I was talking about.
And for all the world, it looked as if the ball was, obviously, if the ball's on the ground, it's a try. And for all the world, it looked as if the ball was on the ground. But every camera angle they had, there was bodies in the way, and you couldn't actually see. So you heard the referee saying, like, even the commentators were assuming, I think if Scotland go to try, they would get the win or whatever. But you could hear it, and you could hear the explanation, and it's like, it looks to all intents and purposes that it's on the ground, but we don't have a camera that actually shows it on the ground. So you need to go with the decision that we can't prove it, so it's not on the ground. And you're like, right, well, instantly, I understand why you've done that. I can disagree with it, but what you've said is right. Do you know what I mean? So I just think that's the one that I always get back to, and I just think that instantly that makes it so much clearer.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the FIFA World Cup club competition, I think that's what it's called. It's going to try. They're going to try out the audios of the refs to be live fed into the stadium, I believe, and also to the TV crews and whoever's watching at home. Look, that's something I get fully on board with. But again, kind of the comical side of things. Could you imagine the likes of Andrew Dallas speaking to Beaton? What time is the band meeting at? And we're meeting here. You know what I mean? Crown Royal and all that type of stuff. You don't know what goes on in them VAR rooms up in Scotland, especially. It's an absolute joke. But if we could get audio explanations, and if the UEFA are meeting now with the football board saying they want transparency, then that's the next steps, isn't it? To hear the audio in real time, to hear the decision process being made. And like Franny said, we might not agree with it, but if we get a decent explanation, then it's like, fair enough. The referee thinks it's that, and we think it's that. You move on, because the audio is there. They explain it all, and it kind of cleans up the whole aspect of saying one thing and another, and the whole kind of debate not in the Forest at the moment. But look, we'll park that to one side. We're 1 hour 53 minutes in. We've got 116 people live, which is fantastic, both on Twitter and our YouTube platforms. If you're new, hit like, subscribe. I've seen a few new commenters in. You're welcome on with us. It's great to have you, and it's been great comments so far. And just a simple question to yourselves individually. Franny, I'll start with you first. Who's winning the Champions League?
Real Madrid.
Any reason why just Real Madrid?
Because they just ken what to do in this tournament.
They just know. What about yourself, James?
Aye, Real Madrid. I thought it'd be City, but it's Real Madrid all day long. Real Madrid PSG final.
That'd be a good final, to be fair. Stephen Ray comes in. PSG, he believes, but it's a makings of a good final coming up anyway. Once the semi-finals are over and done with, we'll see. But look, the quiz time to end the podcast. Comments off again, Franny. Same with you, James. Paul McFarlane doesn't give a fuck about the Champions League. Same, but it's a double pivot. We'll talk about other things as well. We know this by now. Get with the programme, Paul. As we know from the Who Am I, it's 2 each between Franny and James. We'll do first to get to 10. Okay? So whoever reaches 10 first wins. He's ready for the first question?
Go for it.
Right. Which Greek club did Ajax beat to win their first European Cup?
Olympiacos.
Wrong. Franny, it's over to you.
Panathinaikos.
Boom.
I mean,
It's
it was
3-2.
It's one of the
50,
two.
I was going 50-50.
Just-
really.
Do you remember when I got the Real Madrid Frankfurt one?
Oh, aye. Well,
Top
aye.
tier. Absolute top
Came
tier.
nowhere. Aye.
Pat came in, Panathinaikos. You're 100% right there, Pat. So it's 3-2. We're on question 2 of the quiz. Clubs such as Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester United won loads of league titles in England during the 20th century. But which club, managed by Alf Ramsey, won their only title in season 1961-1962?
Oh, I should really know this, man. Oh, Ramsey.
Who else did he manage? Was it England? Was he England manager at one point?
England,
It'd be West Ham.
No, it's over to you, James.
Aston Villa.
Nope, it wasn't Aston Villa. I would give you a clue, but I forget the nickname of the team, which is embarrassing. The answer was Ipswich.
Oh,
Wouldn't have got it.
nah, I wouldn't have been there.
Let's
Like,
see. Let me see. Jeez, oh. Right, so we're on question 3. Yeah, it's still 3-2.
Mhm.
Yep.
Right. At club level, the first club that achieved international success was Slovan Bratislava. It was in 1969, and the club beat FC Barcelona 3-2 in the final of this competition. Which competition was it?
At the what?
So Slovan Bratislava beat Barcelona 3-2 in 1969 in the final of a European competition. But what European competition was it?
Intertotal Cup.
No, it's over to you.
That was what I
James.
was going to say. It's really older one. I'll go
just-
for the. It's either the Cup Winners' Cup or the Fails Cup, but I'll go the Fails Cup.
Oh, you should have went with the Cup Winners' Cup.
Ah,
420 Summer got it right. Paul McCallum got it right as well. Paul McFarlane too, yeah. And Pat as well. Yeah, so it's still 3-2. We're on question 4. Right. Glasgow Celtic midfielder who played for the club in 1998 to 2002 formed an attacking partnership with striker Henrik Larsson. Was voted
Chris
the
Sutton.
best.
No!
Oh no, you're right. You're right. Voted the
No,
best
that's really-
Slovakian player of the decade in the 90s. He was a member of the Czechoslovakia World Cup squad in 1990. Who is he?
Say his name now.
Lubo.
Lubo, yes.
Just went too early, man.
Yes.
Okay.
Brilliant. So that's 3 each. Question 5. In 1996-97, Brazilian Ronaldo won it by scoring 34 goals for which team?
96,
PSV
97.
Eindhoven.
That's what I was going to say. No.
Franny's
right.
out.
Oh, no, then.
96, 97 is too early, I think, for Inter Milan.
Milan.
So I'm going to go. Is that a trick question? I'll go Barcelona.
And you're right. It's
It
4-3.
had to be PSV or Barcelona. Like I said, I think it was
Right.
too early for Inter Milan.
Right, okay. Right. Question 6. It's 4-3 to James. Good comeback, James. In the comments, Maestro got that right as well. A lot of people saying Inter, but it was Barcelona, according to the quiz I'm looking at. So, Hungary had made it to the World Cup final in 1938 and 1954, ended in defeat each time. What teams beat Hungary in those finals? If you get one of the teams, I'll give you the whole thing. If you get one of the teams.
I thought it was the same
Yeah.
team twice.
Brazil.
No. Out. Franny.
Oh. West Germany.
Oh! Brilliant. West Germany. Stephen Ray gets the both of them. Italy and West Germany. Fantastic. Pat's in there with West Germany as well. Great shout. So it's 4 each. Question 7. Who holds the proud feat of scoring the first ever goal in the English Premiership in August 1992?
I should know this because you asked it a couple of weeks ago and I jumped in, so I'm going to.
Fuck.
Brian Dean.
Boom.
Aye.
What's that, 5-4 now?
Yep.
Yeah. Question 7. Okay. Jeez, I'm trying to find these fucking ones that'd be alright. Right, hold on. Right, question 7. Where did Galatasaray come from?
Turkey.
There we go. Franny's up again. That's 6-4. Question 8. Right, hold on. Right. The Italian player Antonio Casasano played for Roma in season 2001-2002.
You mean Antonio Casano?
Casano? Doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, right? The Italian player. What's his name again?
Casano.
Casano played for Roma in season 2001-2002. Which was his previous club?
Sampdoria.
Nope. James.
Oh no, he went to them. I know it now. I fucking know it now.
He played with Inter Milan as well, but
I know it. I played with Real Madrid too. Madness. I know it.
It's his previous club, the Roma. Previous club.
I know.
Is it? Because I liked him back in the day.
Aye, he was a nutter.
Torn between two.
Maestro.
Did you say Sampdoria?
I said Sampdoria.
Maestro, Monty,
and he
Stephen
also
Wright.
He went
all
to
wrong.
them, obviously, later
Was
on.
it? I've got Hellas Verona and Barry in my head. Is it Barry?
Ah, you
That's
wanker.
sorry.
You
That's
wanker.
I used to love
That's
Roma
6.
back in the day, man, with the fucking strips in the early 2000s.
Potty man.
6-5. Fantastic. Question 8. Danish defender Rene Henriksen was playing for which European club in 2001-2002? He was named Footballer of the Year 2000 in Denmark, and he also played in France 98 and Euro 2000.
Stop this to help me.
And he was Danish.
What European team?
He was Danish.
Playing for? Who had Danish players?
Did you ever do that in your mind? You're going, who had Danish player? Monty, you're wrong. Maestro's wrong. Monty's wrong again. Stephen Ray.
Copenhagen.
No, Franny, you've got a wild guess here.
Blackburn Rovers.
It was Panathinaikos.
Wow.
Fuck. I could have sat here to fucking next Wednesday and not said that.
Right, so is it still 6-5? Yeah.
Aye, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
And that's the Franny still. Question 9. I love these questions. I'm having a
2
great
questions
crack here.
ago was where are Galatasaray for?
Question 9. Who scored the winning goal in the 1966 Cup Winners' Cup final between Borussia Dortmund and Liverpool? The final took place in Hampden Park, Glasgow.
'66. Who was it? Fucking Liverpool back in the day.
Oh man.
The winning goal was for Borussia Dortmund. It wasn't for Liverpool.
Oh well, that's just made
fuck,
it even
that was
worse, man. Because
Pass.
I was only
It
just
was-
thinking of Liverpool players. Aye, because we're just
I think we should get
It
a
was-
point if we can name a player in the Borussia Dortmund team.
back then. Like,
It was Labuda.
I
There we
thought
go.
I was going to say him. Big fucking John Lebuda, man. What a player.
Right. 6-5 to Franny still. Right, question 10. Napoli celebrated their first ever Serie A title in 1987 by releasing hundreds of what into the streets of Naples?
Doves.
Nope. Franny.
That's where I was going.
I thought I was right.
So dark.
It was not doves. It was a sneeze. You got that right.
Fucking.
Paul McComet. Cocaine.
I was going to say that.
No, it wasn't. It was in fact donkeys.
I think I might
He's
be
ready?
on the side there kicking in. Are you sure it's no doves?
It's definitely donkeys. Question 11, 6-5 the Franny. James.
It could be doves, mate.
Right. What is the complete name of the Austrian second division football club Admira?
Wacker.
Wow.
See, you're not laughing now. When you listen to the question, James, you'll get it. There you go, you fucking donkey. 6 each. But right. 6 each, right. Question 11. How many Spanish teams were in the 2000 Champions League semi-finals? If you give me a number plus all 3 teams, I'll give you 2 points.
I'm going 3.
What?
What? What do you mean, what?
If you give me right, so the original question is how many Spanish teams featured in the 2000 Champions League semi-finals, right?
So
if you give me what?
4 teams in it. There could have been 3 teams. There could have been 4. So
is the answer fucking? The answer's going to be like Germany or something for this question.
Right, so many teams you go with, Franny?
Well, I'm going to say 2 now because you fucking got to tell me 3.
Oh shit! I just realised I fucked that up big time. I told you the answer. All 3. Oh fuck! We're moving on. Still 6 each. Right.
There's a new one. You tell us the answer and we'll ask you a question.
Question 12. The only reason I knew that when I said all 3 teams, I was like, oh shit. Like, which team won the Champions League in 1999?
1999?
Yes.
Something like United?
Aye, it was a treble, wasn't
it?
Franny got it, 7-6. There we go. I'm the donkey, Paul McFarlane, 420. It was actually when you said it again to me, made me realise. Right, let's go. Oh my god, right. Question 13. The Rossoneri of Serie A won their first domestic. Hold on.
Oh no,
you're right.
That was
won their first domestic title in 1901 and their first European Cup in 1963. Their nickname emphasises their colours, red and black. Which Italian team makes their opponents see red, especially? There we go.
Oh.
You got it.
Asked that question last week. Or sorry, somebody asked it and you said
8-6. I didn't say you, James. You're lying.
When he sent you the video, was it Gav or somebody said
Stephen Ray?
You told me I had an Italian dictionary or some bollocks.
Yeah, it's 8-6.
He asked the Brian Dean one a few weeks ago as well.
No, why would land? Why would just land here?
I said Dean Gordon by accident. No, that's no fucking fun.
Right, hold on a wee second, right? Jesus Christ, right, okay. So question 14, 8-6 to Franny. Which Spanish club did Inter beat in 1964 to win their first European Cup?
64.
Real Madrid.
There you go, 9-6 to Franny. And hold on a wee second, these quizzes are funny, 420 somewhere. The entertainment value is off the Richter scale right now, because I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. But there you go, it's 9-6. Question 15. Which Spanish club did Bayern Munich beat to win their first European Cup?
Actually, when they put it past you being Real Madrid again, because you've had fucking Panathinaikos to answer twice.
Are you going with Real Madrid?
I've got to lock that in, Stephen, because usually if you say that, it means I'm right.
Are you going to lock it in?
Well, I'm going to say aye, but it's not right. Yeah, surely
you're wrong.
Lost you.
Go ahead, James.
I'll go. I don't want to say Barca because I don't feel as if it would have been Barca back in the day. Valencia.
No, it was in fact Atletico Madrid. Stephen Ray got it, Pat got it, Paul McFarlane got it. I think Maestro went with Barca, which was wrong. Okay, Jesus. Please. Franny, that should be easy for you. Question 16, 9-6. You go winning here. The French title had a number of dominant clubs in the 20th century, such as Nantes, Saint-Étienne, Marseille, but which club, managed by Gilbert Gris, won their only 20th century title in 1978-1979 season?
That should be easy.
Oh, come on. What is
But can it be Lille because they obviously stopped PSG getting 10? Can't be Lille either. I'm sure they won it recently.
I'm between two. I'm between Strasbourg and Bordeaux because they used to be big, so I'll go Strasbourg.
Strasbourg it is. 9-7.
By the way, what a shout, by the way.
9-7.
I was definitely going the other one. I only got off with the back of you.
Right. Right, hold on. Give me a second. I've ran out of questions in the first one, but we're okay. Right. Question 17. 9-7. Gabriel Batistuta is a native of
Argentina.
Oh,
brilliant. 9-8. This is getting tasty here.
In Argentina or something. What was his postcode?
Shut up. Bray Wanderers, Bohemians, UCD, and Kilkenny
Ireland.
City. 9 each. And then finally, to bring it home, which Spanish team won the first 5 European Cups?
Real Madrid.
And James comes back 10-9. Unbelievable. Great effort. Did you enjoy the quiz, boys?
Oh, it's just an absolute nonsense, this quiz, Stephen. But then he changed, man.
It's good fun. It's good fun, isn't it?
Go to that Argentinian player's name again. What was his name again?
Who?
Gabriel, what was his name?
You tell me, Franny, you're the one saying it.
The boy Batigo. How do you say his right name?
Who?
Batistuta.
Batigo.
What a comeback. I know, exactly. You're a fanny, Franny. You prick.
I don't know.
But look,
I did not
that
say
brings us to
Gabriel Batistuta.
Fuck off, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Antonio Casani. Is it Casasani?
Big Tony Casasani, what a player.
Big Tony Cascarino. I was nearly going down that road. But look, that brings us to the end of the Double Pivot podcast. Have you enjoyed it?
Yes, I didn't realise it was as long.
I know.
It was good crack. And then Maestro, that James was going to wrestle with Franny there. Stephen, can you pronounce? No idea what that name even is. That's incredible. 420 has a bad stutter. Hope you get that sorted, buddy, soon. That's bad. But sure. Look, we'll love yous and leave yous. And we'll be back again on Friday with the normal podcast looking towards the Dundee game at the weekend. But until then, to everybody watching along, still 113 live, which is fantastic. Stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.